welcome to yet another exciting video in your Agile journey, Agile Manifesto Part 2, Agile Principles. I welcome all of you on board Let's Go Agile. My name is Sanjan Bhattacharya and I am your Agile learning partner. Agile Manifesto Part 2 of 2. This is a video where we will be talking about Agile Principles, which is the second part of the very important Agile Manifesto. If you happen to land straight to this video, you may want to visit the first video up there in this link at the right hand side corner of the video, where we talk about Agile values. Together they make the Agile Manifesto, the values and principles, which happens to be the core behind every Agile framework. So let's now dive right into the Agile principles. So here we are with the first Agile principle, which says our highest priority is to satisfy the customer through early and continuous delivery of valuable software. One of the deep benefits of Agile is fast and frequent delivery. We deliver increments of the product in short iterations that add value to our customer's business. The bottom line of every business is to keep your customer happy. This Agile principle talks about keeping your customer happy through early and continuous delivery of value to the customer's business. And this value has to be delivered early and frequently, which is possible through iterative development of the product, and of course continuously, which is aided by the Agile ways of working. The second Agile principle says, welcome changing requirements, even late in development. Agile processes harnesses change for the competitive advantage of the customer. It could be change in business requirement, a change at the end users level, a change that is needed to compete with a parallel product in the market. It could be an enhancement of the product with the existing features, or it could even be a statutory requirement related to some legal compliance. Changes can come in every shape and sizes. In Agile, we are not afraid of change. Here, we not only embrace change, but we also harness change and use it to the advantage of our customer. Agile processes allows us to adapt ourselves and accommodate changing requirements so that the product remains viable and the competitive edge is always there for our customer. As we are flexible, changes can be accommodated even in the late stage in development. All right, this is the third principle, which says that deliver working software frequently from a couple of weeks to a couple of months with a preference to the shorter time scale. Yes, remember that Agile values, which says that the working software over comprehensive documentation is what we prefer. This Agile principle focuses more towards that very Agile value. It simply states that development in iterations is preferred, and smaller the iteration duration, the better it is. Also, shorter iterations help the team to inspect and adapt at a faster pace, and thus course correction becomes a lot more easier in the long drawn process. As this principle says that delivery must happen frequently and always prefer shorter delivery windows. The team works on product roadmap and chalks out a release plan in that line, keeping in mind the preference to shorter time scales for deliveries. Of course, the amount of features to be delivered must be taken up in accordance with the timelines decided. The fourth Agile principle says business people and developers must work together daily throughout the project. Business people are the people who face the customer, and developers are the team which builds the product. Please don't get confused here. This principle does not mean that the stakeholders must regularly work with or talk to the development team. In fact, if something like that's happening on your team, be aware that this is an anti-pattern. What this principle means by business people is the product owner. The product owner is the single point of contact for the Scrum team to get the business needs understood, clarify their doubts regarding any feature or requirement. The product owner must stay available to the developers on daily basis to resolve the doubts and queries related to the requirements, and that is exactly what this principle talks about. Yes, we do have backlog grooming sessions, and with the sole purpose of clarifying the doubts and developing an understanding about the whole picture. Um, and it may also alter the date or something, but that does not mean that the business people or the product people will not associate or will not collaborate with the development team on daily basis. That is exactly what this principle says. The fifth Agile principle says that build project around motivated individuals, give them the environment and support they need, and trust them to get the job done. We have to build a team that is high on motivation. Does that happen automatically? Maybe, maybe not. We have to foster an environment that the team feels secure and empowered in to act as a single cohesive unit which is ready to take the responsibility to deliver the said tasks. Now, an important part here is, and don't miss this one, that is trust. Yes, in absence of trust, all this may not be very easy. We have to trust the team that has been given a responsibility to develop and deliver. There must be an environment that facilitates these tasks, takes care of the roadblocks that the team may face, and trust on the decisions that the team takes. That's very important. This is how we get the best results. The sixth Agile principle says that the most efficient and effective method of conveying information to and within a development team is face-to-face conversation. We saw this in Agile Values video as well. Remember? Individuals and interactions over processes and tools. Yes, there is no substitute to face-to-face conversation. It need not be always sitting in front of each other. It could also be through a virtual video call through one of the many collaboration tools we have these days. It's a well-advised choice to talk to your team or any individual for that matter over sending emails and then waiting for responses. I'm not saying that emails are not needed or they are not important. They are needed. But when it comes to efficient and effective way to communicate or express the thoughts, there is no better way than to have a face-to-face communication. It not only helps you to build rapport, it also helps you to build trust, and emotions are conveyed in its truest sense. Okay, so here is the seventh Agile principle from the Agile Manifesto, which says working software is the primary measure of progress. Now, the focus words here are working software is progress. Yes, we have talked a lot about this and how important it is to have a working piece of code. This principle yet again tells us that no matter how nicely things are documented or wireframed, unless we have a working piece of code, we cannot call it as progress. It is as simple as that. The eighth Agile principle says that Agile processes promote sustainable development. The sponsors, developers, and users should be able to maintain a constant pace indefinitely. In a crisis situation, we do take up some extra work that is beyond or more than our capacity to perform, and as a result, the team presses hard, works extra time, and gets the job done. That's an exception. We must never make this a practice. Whereas it is always desirable to get this kind of output that's not sustainable. The expectation setting, pulling up work in for a sprint or PI, from everyday planning and everything, all must focus to being sustainable. The teams must be able to choose a good pace and meet that pace indefinitely. There will be situations, and that's perfectly fine, but eventually, not only the agile teams, but everyone, including the sponsors and the users, need to maintain a steady pace which is sustainable. Here we are with the ninth principle from Agile Manifesto, which says that continuous attention to technical excellence and good design enhances agility. This Agile principle says that always maintaining status quo is not a good thing to do. Whatever we do, we must focus on excellence from the technology standpoint. The more our code is technically sound or our designs are robust, we will be open to changes. Technical excellence helps us to accommodate changes without having to redo a lot of things. Whereas if the entire product is not having a robust technical architecture behind it, any small changes may throw the code in a mess, and that's not what we want. In a vivid design, small changes can be made without changing a whole lot and yet have a good meaning. That is exactly what this principle is saying. The 10th Agile Principle says that simplicity, the art of maximizing the amount of work not done, is essential. The principle says that least amount of work must yield maximum value. This is hand in hand with the concept of MVP, or minimum viable product. Agile thrives on keeping the process simple and transparent. We believe in uncomplicating things and delivering value in the process. The idea is not to stay away from doing work. The idea is to maximize the business value from minimum features. That is exactly what like an MVP does. With minimum features, the product becomes viable for the business to the customer, and that is exactly what is meant here. The 11th and the second last Agile principle says that the best architectures, requirements, and designs emerge from self-organizing teams. When a team is entrusted with some responsibility, it is mandatory to empower that team as well. Self-managing and self-organizing is a characteristic of any good Agile team. This principle rightly says that when you empower a team or allow them to take decisions and respect their decisions, it is the time when the team starts to innovate and come up with the finest architectures and designs. Free thinking allows the team to think out of the box and go ahead and experiment and learn from their own and evolve. This is what is meant by best architectures out of a self-organizing team. So with this, we have come to the last Agile principle, which says that at regular intervals, the team reflects on how to become more effective, then tunes and adjusts itself and its behavior accordingly. This Agile principle is aligned with the empirical process where we are transparent in our work, we inspect our work done frequently, and then we adapt to get aligned with the changing requirements. In Agile, we have iterations, where the team works in short intervals towards delivering value to the customer. And after every iteration, the team looks back into their own performance and finds out what went well and what are the opportunities to improve for them in the upcoming iterations. This is called sprint retrospective, which of course we will be discussing at length in another video. Typically, it is only the closed Agile team which sits together and reflects to adjust their work. So this was all about the Agile Manifesto, the Agile Principles. These were the 12 principles which I tried to capsulate in a very short explanation and attempted to keep them as simple as possible. Do let me know if you want to know more details about any of the principles, and I will be more than happy to help you out with that. This was the second and the last video of the Agile Manifesto series. Do consider subscribing to the channel if you liked the content. I would be waiting for your comments and suggestions towards making the content in this channel more meaningful. Thanks for tuning in. Till we meet again, stay happy, stay healthy, and together, let's go Agile.